of the greatest month of the year. One of the bands of mine in Jim's youth quite simply said, "Wake me up when September ends." And guess what? September's over. It is finally here, the greatest month on the calendar. October, which means one thing and one thing only. And no, it is not hockey.
You had to, didn't you?
Yes, I did. It is the Major League Baseball playoffs. We start with the new NFL-style playoff format. It is the Big Rican Baseball Show live here on the Big Rican YouTube channel and my personal Facebook page because I wanted to see if we'd have a little bit of interaction tonight because Twitch people are usually doing other things and watching this at the same time. But we won't go with what they're doing because it's on my page, not Jim's. So anyways, as you can see, it is a 3-pack for now as the fourth member of the quartet, or the bass as it were, will join us at about 9:45 as he is doing one of his other shows. As always with me, it seems every time I turn this thing on, is my co-host of the Wise Guy Sports Show, Mr. JC Blue Note, Jim Cronetti. And if their Big Rican Baseball Show is on the air, there is only one person who has been on every single Big Rican Baseball Show, and that is Alex from Row 7 in Chicago. Gentlemen, Alex, I will start with you. How is this evening? How is the new house?
Things are going well. We're fully settling in this weekend, having a little housewarming this Saturday. Also kind of combining that with my birthday. So, we're...
Happy birthday, my friend.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Jim, we should have him on next weekend and haze him for being younger than us.
We do that when he's not on the air anyway, but yes, the invite's always open.
And what we're mentioning, Alex, next week is the Wise Guys 1-year anniversary show.
What day and what time?
We're going to move it to Friday?
Let's do it.
Okay, Friday night, October 14th at 9 p.m. It's going to be on Jim's channel because there'll be liquor and cussing.
Perfect.
Bring your booze. Don't bring any sports talk. It's going to be about 20 minutes with the actual topic and then everything else.
The topic we're going to touch on is we're going to preview the Cavs for a little bit.
Right.
And then it's going to get stupid because I found something else out about him that is bothering me to no end.
Me or Alex?
You. And I'll give you this piece of information to stew on. He's never seen the Goonies.
Oh, that.
Oh, gentlemen, we have a guest who is here a little early, but I'm okay with it. James, I will do the action a la Pat Matt. You ready?
Go for it.
He is the master. He is the genius behind the Shakeback Media Group. He is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Willie Epting. Willie, my friend, how are you?
Man, I am great, man. I appreciate those words. I promise, ladies and gentlemen, I did not have to pay him a dime to say any of that. So I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Hope you guys are well.
We're doing great. And Willie, as I said before, I was going to play the song, but my wife mentioned I'd probably get sued. Green Day said it best, sir. Wake me up when September ends. It's the best month of the year, Willie. It is the best month of the year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because Major League Baseball, the regular season is over with. What a season it was. And this is why we as fans are here, because we want to see what happens in the playoffs. Who's going to be that next team to hoist up the trophy in now November, what used to be October. So let's go. Exactly.
So let's get to – I want to touch on a couple things before we dive into the playoffs itself. So let's start with the end-of-season league leaders. And I got a couple on my team I just want to touch on. Jeff McNeil hit 260 last year, and this year hit 326 to lead all of Major League Baseball.
Yes.
To win the batting title. Listen, I think he did it because Lindor promised to buy him a car. Just me. Pete Alonso tied with Aaron Judge for the most RBIs in all of Major League Baseball at 131, obliterating the former mark for the Mets, set by Mike Piazza and David Wright. And then, of course, we have the 62 home runs of Aaron Judge. let me start with this because, Willie, you're the Bay Area guy. Do you recognize 62 or 73?
73, and it's not even a question. Next question.
Okay. James?
73 with an asterisk.
Alex?
Ditto. 73 with an asterisk.
I do 73 without it because no one gave a damn when they were juicing. So
Exactly.
I will say this, though. That dude's a monster, but he's going to look good in blue and orange next year. Anyway, moving on.
And keeping with the Green Day theme, now we actually have a basket case.
Yes. Do you want to know why we have a basket case? Because for the first time in 6 years, I'm going to turn on TV tomorrow night, and I'm going to see the Mets playing in the postseason, and I cannot wait. But I do want to throw something out there.
For the first time in how long?
6 years.
Wow.
The 2016 wild card game against the Giants. Noah Syndergaard goes 7 shutout innings. Mad Bum went the distance. So, but I do want to do one thing real quick, and I know it's going to come up because the Mets are playing tomorrow. And I know it's going to come up because Jim was breaking my stones about the stupid records. But I did give Alex a number before we came on. And I'm going to give you guys that number. On June 1st, when the Atlanta Braves were 10.5 games out of first place in the National League East, from that day they went 78-34. To get to where they are, they had to play 800 ball. At that point in time, listen, they finished in a flat-footed tie. All the Mets had to do was win one. They didn't get it done. Look, hats off to the Braves. They got it done. But you guys are going to be surprised with something I'm going to say in a few minutes. So I do want to start on the American League side of the bracket. And tomorrow at noon, the first game will be the Cleveland Guardians, who no one saw doing this.
Y'all did.
Well, yeah, but it's because I'm a homer.
Willie, realistically, we here in Cleveland didn't even see this until probably around Memorial Day.
Don't get me started about people in Cleveland because I'm heated. There are still tickets for tomorrow.
We're not talking Browns Twitter. We're talking Guardians Twitter. It's not as toxic.
There are still tickets for tomorrow, but they will go support you-know-who on Sundays.
Well, Saturday's game is already sold out. I think the reason why there's still so many tomorrow is because they didn't announce the times until very, very late, today, and it's a 12 o'clock game, so that's not a whole lot of notice. But they did actually
understand that, but still.
Well, they have said that a lot of the tickets that are left, though, are going to be in that upper bowl, and that's going to be a lot of walk-up crowds. So the game will probably be sold out by the time it starts.
All right, so let's start with that game, and I want to start with the guy from Chicago. Alex, this is the team that won your division. That you thought that we all thought the White Sox were going to win. What do you see happening tomorrow? Is it Bieber and who's the lefty? McClanahan?
They're playing the Yankees.
No,
Guardians.
the Guardians are playing Tampa. If they beat Tampa, they go play the Yankees.
Got it. Okay.
Is it Bieber and McClanahan tomorrow?
Oh.
I'm on ESPN right now. I am pulling it up. McClanahan and Bieber, yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah, McClanahan was he was pushing for that Cy Young Award in the American League for a while there.
He was. Something to think about. Two things I want to give. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Terry Francona with the job Tito did this year. Willie, you want to hear something crazy?
Tell me.
Tito Francona was hired 10 years ago today. Since he was hired, the Cleveland Guardians / Indians have played exactly 19 games where they have been mathematically eliminated from the postseason. Not 19 a year, 19 games.
So that means he's the manager of the decade.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, Alex, with what you see for game one and what you've seen with Tampa basically limping in, coming off a long road trip and now having to go to Cleveland. How do you see this one shaping up? Does Bieber get this job done, or does McClanahan pitch his team to a 1-0 lead?
No, I definitely see Bieber getting it done. Jose Ramirez doing his thing, and Emmanuel Clase closing it down like they've done all year long.
Okay, so we got one for Cleveland. I'm going to skip you, Jim, just for a moment anyway. Willie.
Yes, sir.
You got a lefty and a righty in this first matchup. You have one of the, believe it or not, one of the more dynamic offenses that we saw all year in the Guardians against a Tampa Bay team that is gritty and is just, they won't go away. What do you think?
Well, I talked about this on the hashtag Brothers of Baseball show that's going to be airing on Friday. This is the thing what I see with this matchup. I think Cleveland took 4 out of 6 from Tampa Bay this year. Or was it 5 out of? Well, it was 4 out of 6.
4 out of 6. You're right.
Yeah. So what I see is a Rays team that has been what you said. They've always been gritty. I mean, that manager down there, that dude is one of the best in the game. What worries me about the Rays is the same thing that has always worried me about them, and that's their offense or inability to put runs across the board. And when you have the likes of Ramirez, J-Ram, and everybody else over there in Cleveland that can rake, and you have a rotation that it seemingly has found its groove, I would not be surprised at all if this series ends on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this question. And James, I'm gonna pose this one to you, my friend. With this series, are you as a Cleveland guy more worried about Randy Arozarena, or are you more worried about Tampa's pitching against the Guardians' offense?
Arozarena. I am not worried about their pitching.
Okay, I figured as much. I just wanted to see what you thought.
Look at the 3 that the Gardos are running out there in this series. They're starting with Bieber, then they go to McKenzie. Then if it goes to Game 3 on Sunday, it's Cal Quantrill, who has not lost at home at all this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I basically Sunday, though, for anybody going to Game 3 is Johnny Holstaff.
Doesn't matter. Quantrill doesn't lose at home, period.
Oh, well, I get it. I'm just saying if they need it, I'm sure Bieber would come back and pitch an inning if he had to.
If he had to.
You can't play the Yankees if you don't get past the Guardians, or if you don't get past the Rays. I like Cleveland to win this series too. I think they got too many arms. And if you're going to go Bieber McKenzie, that's going to be tough. Bieber, who had a phenomenal second half to drop that ERA to 2.88. Tristan McKenzie has been a strikeout machine this year. And as much as they're gritty, they're a high strikeout lineup, if I'm not mistaken, in Tampa.
Willie stole a little bit of my thunder that that the Rays backed in. They I got the stats here. Tampa's been ice cold since Labor Day. They went 12-18, lost 9 of 11 in the last 2 weeks, and 5 straight to close out. In that same period, the Gardos went 24-6 since they got swept by Seattle at Progressive Field just before that. And again, Quantrill not losing at home at all this season. I think there's no way this gets past Saturday at this point, with the fact of how hot the Gardos are, and the fact that also they had that really, really nice homestand. Sure, Kansas City, anybody can beat up on, but Tampa's actually coming in cold. They got to go on the road, and it's going to be cold this weekend.
See, that's a big one too, and we're going to do the Mets series last, obviously, but that's a big thing too, is that they're getting nicer weather in New York, but it's going to be chilly over the weekend. So let's go to the other side of the American League, and let's go to the 4-5 matchup. I feel like we're doing the NCAA tournament right now. Anyway, I know, I like it. I like the extra teams. I really do. Let's go to the 4-5, and let's do those Seattle Mariners, who the 21-year drought. And here's the thing, too. You got to think about the playoff droughts that have been taken care of this year. The Philadelphia Phillies have not been to the postseason since 2011. The Mariners since 2001. The Mets since 2016. There are teams that have not been there for a long time that are getting there again, and it's a great thing to see. That's why I love this new format. You're going to see more teams in it till the very end, which I think is awesome. But you have the Toronto Blue Jays at home against the Seattle Mariners. Is it Robbie Ray and Manoah in game one?
Luis Castillo.
Castillo's pitching. Okay. Oh, wow. So I have the Facebook feed on my phone, so I won't be able to look up stats. So, Jim, that's all you tonight, bud.
Oh, that's going to be tough because I'm going back and forth, and I got the the Thursday nighter in the background.
Who cares?
I'll help you guys out with that.
Willie, you are the man, Willie. Well, we got to hurry up because we only got Willie for so long. Anyway, the three of us will go ham on this thing once we get through the prediction round we're doing here. So that means Robbie Ray's pitching game two. That's tough. So it's Manoah and Castillo in game one, Berrios Ryu and Robbie Ray in game two, I would think.
Toronto was not decided on a starter for game two yet.
Yeah, but if you had a bet, he's going to pitch Ryu or he's going to pitch Ryu. Willie, I'm going to start with you with that one since you are the West Coast baseball fan and we talked about the Seattle Mariners and the most unknown superstar in Mitch Haniger, who we have given him that title. Willie, who do you like coming out of that series?
Seattle has dominated Toronto all year. I mean, it ain't even been close. Okay, they actually swept the Blue Jays in Seattle. I understand that. What I think the Blue Jays have going for them is the fact that they've been here. They've been to the playoffs here recently, whereas you just mentioned the Mariners hadn't been there since Edgar Martinez played. Think about that for a second. Again, they have dominated the Blue Jays, which is a little bit of a surprise if you ask me, because of who those guys in Toronto can run up to the dish. When you talk about Hernandez, you talk about Bichette, you talk about Guerrero Jr., you're talking about Springer. That's a murderer's row type of lineup. But for whatever reason, and I know Springer may have not been available for a lot of those games, but for whatever reason, the Mariners just seem to have the number of the Guardians and of the Blue Jays. I like the Mariners to go into Canada and get this thing done in 3 games.
You think it's going the distance?
Yeah, I think it's going to go the distance.
Jim, let's go to you. What do you got?
I like Seattle in 3 as well. It's because it's going to be, even with the retractable roof, I don't think the weather is going to be an issue there. The 3 at home with this new format, I really like because it gives the home team a little bit more advantage. But in a scenario like this, I think potentially Seattle's got a way that they can drown out the crowd noise.
Alex, I want to ask you a different one. Luis Castillo makes his postseason debut tomorrow. Is that the one Toronto's got to get to end this thing on Sunday, or can they afford to lose the first game since all 3 are in Toronto?
No, I think they got to get game 1. If they don't, I think the momentum is definitely swings to Seattle, and I think the youth of Seattle is going to really play dividends in this. Yes, I know, like Willie said, that lineup is just slugger after slugger after slugger, but they do strike out quite a bit. And if they kind of go in a little bit of a slump where they can't hit the long ball, I think the small ball and then Julio Rodriguez, who we're going to learn a lot of, is going to have himself a series.
I think Guerrero. I think Rodriguez and Guerrero are going to cancel each other out. This is going to come down to the supporting cast, like a Mitch Haniger, like a Jesse Winker, like a Eugenio Suarez, or Biggio, Bichette, George Springer. Not Gurriel. Not Gurriel's on that team, right? Gurriel's on the other one. Never mind. I've been playing too much of the video game. My fault. So that's the American League. That means we have the Guardians moving on to play the Yankees, and we have actually a split because I think Toronto's going to win. A split on who's going to go and play the number 1 seed, the garbage can bangers. Anyway, let's go to the National League now. Willie hates them, and I love seeing him laugh when I say things like that.
I have something, though. You're not going to like it, Mike.
What do you got? In the National League? You got San Diego winning.
No. I'm talking about the Astros, actually.
Oh, why am I not going to like it?
I kind of am rooting for them a little bit.
That's because you want Dusty Baker to get a ring, which I understand.
Okay, so you do know me. Okay, good.
Yes.
Good.
We talked about this last year. The only reason we cared if Houston did anything was because Dusty deserves a ring.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the rest of them. So let's go to the National League, where we have two St. Louis Cardinal people here tonight. And they will take on the new version of the Broad Street Bullies with former Met Zach Wheeler on the bump tomorrow in St. Louis against the Cardinals for the Phillies. Jim, I am going to start with you. Is the fairy tale over, or are they going to Atlanta?
Jim
is frozen.
I'm coming back. There we go.
Thank you. So
the funny thing is when it froze, Mike had his mouth open, so I was almost going to say, and then I saw Willie and Alex was frozen too.
Alex, did you see that?
Clip. I did.
Alex, did you see that?
I caught it.
You know what, man?
I thought it was just a suspense. I was just like,
Jim, is the fairy tale over?
No.
You got the Cardinals.
No, they're not going to ride this out with 3 at home. They're not going to go out like this against in the second round. More than likely, not in the wild card.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. Alex, you are the other one since your father's a big Cardinal fan. I pose the same question to you with this one caveat. Does Jordan Montgomery have to win tomorrow? Or is he pitching tomorrow?
It's Quintana.
Quintana's going tomorrow.
Yeah, that kind of caught me off guard. I don't exactly know why they went that route, but I think it's probably to give an extra day of rest to Montgomery and potentially Waino in Game 3.
I figured Waino's going to pitch Game 1, but then I saw that was awesome what they did the last day of the season, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yes.
That was pretty cool. So, Alex, is your dad going to be happy or not happy?
He's going to be happy because the Cardinals are going to walk away with this series.
Okay.
I will give kudos to Philly, but I think that Philly they are who we thought they are. They're nothing special.
Corey Knebel is still their closer.
He is. Yeah.
Willie, same question to you, but from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You're the Philadelphia Phillies. You had a fight to get in here as the third member of the National League East to get in. But are you the one that makes the most noise with the middle of that lineup?
Man, it's not just the middle of the lineup. I don't know if you guys know, but they played 7 times this year, and Phillies went 4-3 against them. But in 3 of those wins, they actually shut out the the Cardinals. Shut them out. Shut them out.
Did the Cardinals play their AAA team that night?
It was 3 nights, so I'm not sure. But what I'm saying is it just appears to me that the Cardinals have a much better team on paper. I should say much better. But what I will say is this, is that those dudes from Philly, they can stack runs with those guys, Real Muto, Reese Hoskins. Yeah, you played most of the year without Bryce Harper, okay? JT Real Muto is probably a top 4 catcher in the entire majors. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like this feeling that I have. I don't think the Cardinals are gonna go any further. I think this is it. This is the end of the road.
I can't root for Philadelphia. I will say this though. This series is going 3. Wheeler has come into his own, which kills us as Met fans. This offense is phenomenal, but the problem is, I'm going to go back in the memory banks for you, and this is the team that gave up a 7-run lead in the 9th inning to the Mets earlier this year. This is the team that blew games down the stretch they absolutely needed with their bullpen. David Robertson was not the answer then, and he's not the answer now. I got the Cardinals moving on, but it's going to take 3 games. Well, we've got 5 minutes of Willie left. We're going to get to the big one. Tomorrow night, Max Scherzer and Yu Darvish from Citi Field in a shot move to me that Jacob deGrom is not pitching game 1 in what will certainly be an insane Citi Field tomorrow night.
For sure.
So, Willie, I'm going to start with you. Mets win this in 2 or 3 games.
Oh, how are you going to ask me the question like that?
Because I'm a wise ass. No, in all seriousness. No, I'll be serious now.
I'm a little concerned about the Mets. I'm a little concerned about deGrom, and I'm a little concerned about Scherzer. I'm more concerned about deGrom because the way his ERA ballooned over the last several starts of the year. Now, the Padres came into Citi Field and took 2 out of 3, and they took 2 out of 3 at Petco Park.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. To me, this should be a sweep by the Mets. This should be a sweep by the Mets. When you have Bassett, just look at the options that they have. You have Bassett, Carrasco, Scherzer, deGrom, and Walker. Any one of those dudes can get you a win. Mm-hmm. And then you have a very potent lineup, which their offense is great. And the Braves offense seems to be on another level. That's not to take anything away from the Mets. So when I look at this, I'm not understanding how it was the regular season shook out the way that it did. I understand deGrom may not have been available for much, if not all of those particular contests. Mm-hmm. But the way that he hasn't pitched very well in this.
Not the last few outings. No, he is not.
So, but with that being said, I think that they are going to pull it off simply because they are a better team than the Padres.
Let me put some context on the losing 4 out of 6. They lost those 4 out of 6 when deGrom was on the IL, as was Scherzer. Mm-hmm. You remember, this team won 101 games. deGrom didn't pitch till August 2nd. Scherzer spent 9 weeks on the shelf. And the reason they lost in Atlanta, I'm going to be very honest with you, is because somebody from Pittsburgh hit Starling Marte in the hand. Huh. They get one if Marte's in the lineup. And we're talking about Atlanta having to play San Diego as opposed to having the time off. So, Jim, I'm going to go to you now. And you and I got into it a little bit back and forth on the Twitter thing, and I was telling you all, but whatever. By the way, the Mets had more wins than the Yankees. So, I had to. How do you see this one shaking out, friend?
You've got do you have your playoff appearance gear ordered? Because it's going to be the only one that you're going to have. Ooh. I think you guys are going home.
Really?
I think the way that you guys struggled, the way that you guys blew that 10-game lead, I think you guys are going home.
Because but how do you blow a lead when a team plays 800 ball?
Here's what I say. In the postseason, you've got to be able to hit the long ball. Outside of Alonso, you guys don't have anyone who can consistently hit the long ball. Francisco Lindor, you and I both know, when it turns to October, he turtles up faster than Conor McGregor.
We have a Conor McGregor reference on a baseball show. I like it.
I could have said Nick Diaz, but Nick Diaz takes his ball and quits.
That's true.
But
kind of like Tatis.
Yeah, but still, San Diego has multiple guys who can hit the ball out of the park, any park that they're in, any time that they really choose. You guys do play a lot of small ball, but again, in the postseason with the colder weather, you've got to be able to hit the ball out of the park.
I don't disagree with you, but you also have to be able to hit the ball, and that's San Diego's problem. You're talking about over 1,000 strikeouts in the middle of that lineup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If they can put it together, I think so. But there's just something about me, and it's not trying to be spiteful against you. I think you guys are going home.
I know. We're not talking the rest of the night. No, I'm kidding. Alex, what do you think? Is San Diego coming across the country and walking away beating a 100-win team?
I don't think so. And the only reason why I say that is because I haven't really watched much of San Diego baseball. The only guy who I've heard in the news consistently, it was Manny Machado, who I know he had a pretty solid year, but I know that Juan Soto really didn't pay dividends through that little bit, that stretch that they had. So I'm expecting him to kind of come to play and show out in the playoffs, because that's what they're paying him, 400, 800, 100, 200 billion dollars, whatever it is. So if he can kind of put something together and they can kind of get some hits and consistent pitching, I think they have a chance. But if not, I think the Mets take 2 out of 3 or take 2.
I got the Mets too, and it's the pitching is why I have it. Just being very honest. And Jim, you're absolutely right. You got to be able to hit the long ball in a big spot in the postseason. I agree with you 100%. I think where this series is going to be won is not on the starters. If the Mets do what they've done all year, and that is work counts, work at bats, San Diego's bullpen is not very good at all. Josh Hader is his ERA still 18?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's cooked.
So that's where I think the Mets are going to win this. I think they can win 2 if they can get Darvish out of the game early. If Darvish goes deep, it'll go 3. And they'll have to pitch DeGrom on Sunday. So that means 3 of the 4 of us think it's going to be the Mets and the Dodgers. 1 of the 4 of us thinks it's going to be San Diego and the Dodgers. And all of us pretty much believe it's going to be St. Louis. And, Willie said he thought Philly was going to go. So 3 of us think it's going to be St. Louis and Atlanta, and 1 of us think it's going to be Philly and Atlanta. So, Willie, I know you said we only had you for about a half hour. We're at 31 minutes. You got a little more time, or you got to head out?
Yeah, I got to bounce, man.
Willie, thank you so much. We will probably do a World Series preview as well, so just kind of keep your eyes open. It'll be the same cast of characters as it normally is, sir.
Okay, cool. I'm with it.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, man. Y'all be good.
Take care, Willie.
Take care.
All righty. Yeah, Jim, I like this one better. Thanks for the heads up on that.
Yep.
All right, now I can yell at you. I'm kidding.
Save it for Friday.
Oh, now you're going to get it. All right, so let's go to the second round. Yeah, he's cracking his knuckles. Alex, Friday's going to be so much fun. It's going to get stupid very quickly. You should. We may get banned somewhere.
That's okay.
I think so too.
More than likely get banned from Twitch as opposed to YouTube.
Probably.
I got something for you off air about that.
Oh, here we go. I can't do much off air tonight, so send me stuff.
Like I can even talk to you tomorrow about it too.
That'll work. All right, so let's dive into the second round. Let's go with the majority rules option on what we're going to do with the next round. I do want to touch on the American League first again, and we all had the Guardians moving on to play the Yankees. And will the real Garrett Cole please stand up? We all know I cannot stand this man. I can't. You made $300 million because Justin Verlander took everybody's ace out, and you got to pitch against the bottom of the barrel. Alex, has my opinion of him changed at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. As long as I'm consistent, that's all I ask.
Consistency is key.
Thank you. The only person my opinion's changed of is Edwin Diaz, but I no longer want him sent back to Puerto Rico. So let's get into the Guardians and the Yankees. It seems like every year Cleveland and New York seem to hook up in the postseason. I think they're even too. I think the Yankees have beaten the Guards/Indians as often as vice versa. Jim, I want to start with you. I have the Guards winning this and going to the LCS. What do you think? If they can get it done in 2, you start Quantrill in game 1 against Garrett Cole at Yankee Stadium. Or do you pitch Savali in game 1?
Aaron Savali's a mess.
Okay.
You throw Savali in game 1 if you're hoping to throw somebody better in game 2 and get a split.
Well, I think that's all they have to do is go in there and get 1, to be very honest with you. The Yankees played terrible on the road this year.
Yeah, but also remember the Yankees were 5-1 against the Gardos this year.
Yeah, but they always do well in the regular season and, mess themselves in the postseason.
Quick trivia question, Mike. You should know this. Alex, I'll throw this out to you as well. I can't remember if it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that. This very day, Indians and Gardos in the playoffs. Very, very memorable game. The Gardos win. Do you remember why?
Wait, I do.
Was it the Flies?
Yep.
The Midges.
Robin Chamberlain with the Midges.
That was 15 years ago. It was 2007. That was it should have been the Gardos and the Rockies in the World Series, not the Red Sox.
Right.
So if they go Quantrill in game 1, realistically bring Bieber back to pitch in New York in game 2, if they get 1, Jim, they can win those 2 at home. Because you're going to pitch Quantrill in game 4.